My name is David Marcus. I was born in Romania in Iași.
Speak up, David.
I was born in Romania in Iași in 1915. So next Christmas I'm going to be 100.
Oh, wow.
At the age of 10 I joined the Shomer HaTzair, and I've been under the influence of Shomer HaTzair all my life. I went to all the stages. I even was a chalutz. I did all sorts of dirty jobs, including collecting blood in an abattoir. They were killing the animals on the platform, and I was underneath in the river collecting the blood. Another job was working in a beetroot field. It was a backpacking job. Anyway, that lasted 6 months. I came back, waited for a certificate, which I didn't get. Eventually I was drafted into the Romanian army, and as a graduate, instead of doing 5 years or 3 years, 5 years, one of my brothers did 5 years, I only did 11 months. And the significant thing was a special course. We were all graduates and all had to become officers in reserve. The first day of our life as recruits, the officer in charge, the colonel, got us on parade and told us,
Carry on.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
got us on parade and told us what to expect. Said you're going to be instructed to be instructors, and you'll
Thanks, Rita.
instruct all the recruits during the period of a year that you'll be in, and then you'll go into the reserves as officers. But you bloody Jews, don't expect any promotion. It's only for Christians. And so I carried on all the year instructing recruits, not even being a non-corporal. Whilst I was doing my army service, my brothers, 2 brothers from Rhodesia, Simon and Oscar from Bulawayo, came to visit the family.
In Romania?
In Romania. He said, David, you must, as soon as you finish the army, you must leave Romania. And I said, no, if I can't go to Palestine, I'd rather stay here and look after my parents. So I said, you will not be able to look after your parents. Within a short time, they'll kill you. You must come. And persuaded me and my parents that I should come. I came to Rhodesia in July 1938. I didn't know a word of English. I fortunately had a number of relatives who spoke Romanian, but I was at work the next day. It was quite a delight because I hadn't been working properly in my whole life. And I found my way in the office, especially in the accounts. I was schooled as an accountant. And eventually my brother put me in charge of credit. I had to know the customers and know who is creditworthy and who is not. In 1939, when the war broke out, I volunteered for the army service. And though I was an enemy alien, they called me up for voluntary service as a as a territorial, and I served in the territorial army with training during evenings and weekends, and then eventually we did guard duty over the institutions, especially the air bases. In 1941, in spite of my being an enemy alien, they called me for full-time service. And my English wasn't very good even then. I went to a training course, like all the other recruits. And when I finished the course, I was made a corporal. In spite of the fact that in Romania, I wasn't even at land school. And I did some training. Eventually they made me a sergeant. I went to all sorts of courses, including physical training. And as a physical training instructor, I was posted to Salisbury at KGC back 6 barracks. I had the pleasure of meeting Nick Algadev and Lasovsky, Mervel. And then in 1942, during this period I also had other courses on gunnery functions and armored fighting vehicles, all sorts of things. In 1942, they sent me on service overseas. Whilst I had embarkation leave, I didn't know what to do with myself. I told my brother, I'm going to examine the branches in northern Rhodesia. We had one in Kitwe and one in Broken Hill. And I started with Kitwe. When I landed in Broken Hill, I had a cousin there just arrived from Romania, a family, Herbstein. Henry was sort of the father of the community. He arranged for him to find a job in the mine. So whilst I was meeting Sydney, he said, let's go, it was a Wednesday, he said, let's go to cinema, to Bioscope. So I went to Bioscope, and there was the whole community, including the Herbstein family. My cousin introduced me to the Herbstein family, and they had a young girl of 17. And amongst other things, they said, we entertain all the Jewish lads when they pass through here. If you'd like to come for tea. I said, I'll try. And the next evening I went and had tea. I was the only one. The parents had retired to bed, and I was keeping this young girl of 17. I was then about 1943, I was 28. And I kept her awake for about 2 hours. There was a special coach made up for people from Broken Hill. I got into the coach at midnight. They attached it to the train. Next day I was in Bulawayo. And I sent a book on paintings from Rome. She received the book and thanked me very much, and I again replied, and so we started the correspondence, which lasted about 4 years whilst I was in the Foreign Service. And when I came back, I found her. She was in Muizenberg. And I found her, I said to her, when you come back, stop in Bulawayo, I'd like to see you. She said, okay. I had a girlfriend in Romania before I left, and I used to write to her, to the Red Cross, whilst I was in Rhodesia. But whilst I was in the British Army, incidentally, when we arrived in Cairo with the South African contingent, they took all the privates, but all the officers and NCOs, they wouldn't accept. They said, you have not sufficient training to be officers in an army that's going into battle. The 6th Armored Division was then going into battle at Alamein. So I said, like all the others, we prepare to come down in ranks, provided they give us back the stripes and the ranks when we finish a course. So they said they couldn't do that, and then they made us all sorts of offer. One offer was for me to join the British Army, and I joined the British Army in a unit called Raiding Forces Greece. And I was stuck on a Greek island for 4 years. Anyway, when I came back, I found this girl, and she came. She stayed with my cousin at a big home. And then we went to Gwanda on a huge estate. A relative, brother-in-law of my cousin, had a big estate. I didn't have the time.